Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you going?
Yeah, good, thank you. I'm sitting here with my green tea, honey.
Oh, good, because I made a coffee and I
Oh,
didn't know
excellent.
if I should drink it or not on the screen. So
Go for
now
it.
we
This
feel
is
like we're actually
super
having a
casual.
cuppa.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Lost in Mayfield is coming out next week, or by the time that this interview comes out, it'll be the same day. How are you feeling about that?
I'm pretty excited. Yeah, it's only the second song that I've ever released, like put out into the world. Available for people to listen to. And it's been a bit of a long time coming because I've been writing songs for ages, and then recorded this little bunch of songs last December, so 2019, when the world was still pretty normal.
Yeah, wow. So the song that you released first was 20 something, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that was from
Yeah.
the same batch of songs that we recorded down at Novatone in Newcastle. And I decided to go with 20 something first. It was quite poppy, pop rock, pretty approachable and relatable, quite happy. So that had a really, really good response. That was in June.
Yeah. Well, as a 23-year-old Newcastle uni student, I get it.
Yeah.
20 something, just it resonated with me, and even listening to Lost in Mayfield, it feels a little bit more grungy.
Yeah,
And I get that now, especially with everything going on with 2020. It feels so much more appropriate to be the second release. So
I think it'll work out well. It's definitely a bit more emotional and a bit more rocky. Yeah, grungy, that's a good word for it. Not as sort of poppy and upbeat as 20 something. But I think that's because it's got a bit more maybe of a personal theme to it, a bit more emotional.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're in the same place that you were when you wrote it now? Because there's been so much happening between when you wrote it, recorded it, and now finally releasing it.
Yeah, no, it feels like that. It feels like ages ago, to be honest. Like, it's gone really quickly, but I probably wrote it last October, 2019, and I was playing with a band at the time in Newcastle, playing lots of gigs around town, and jamming a lot. So I just took it to the boys, Jake and Matt, straight away, and they really liked it. So we started playing it live. And I think because it has that, the chorus is Lost in Mayfield, it's really, people can feel a connection to it if they're from Newcastle or if they've lived in Mayfield, or, it feels like sort of familiar to people from Newcastle. So it was fun to play to a crowd in Newcastle venues. And a lot of my friends were like, we love this one, like this is our favourite one yet. And I was like, oh, that's surprising, but really good feedback on a new song. So that's why I decided to record that as well.
Yeah. And you're originally from Glen Innes, is that right? Yeah. And then you lived in Newcastle for like 5-ish years, and now you're on the North Coast.
Yes.
Yeah. So what was it about like Mayfield that moved you to write about it?
Oh, yeah, like you said, I'm sort of so in between places. Like I grew up in my little country town, Glen Innes, did university down at Newcastle, and lived there for the 5 years, which was really, really fun. And that's where I really started doing a lot of my music. So Newcastle was sort of like my hometown for the music scene side of things, because there's just like so many opportunities and a really good young crowd. And Mayfield, though, it's a funny one because I didn't live in Mayfield, and I have some interviews and stuff. I've sort of assumed that I lived there, and so now I feel like I need to say a disclaimer. Yeah, I didn't live in Mayfield, but I just started writing the song when I was literally driving around there. Like, it just started as a silly song, like singing in my head sort of thing, because I had, as everyone did, have a bit to do with that suburb. You're always driving through it, or friends there, and music venues there and stuff. So I started writing it when I was there, quite, I guess, in a literal sense. And then I went home and finished off writing it, and it turned into sort of more of a metaphorical, emotional sense. So yeah, it's sort of like an eye-catching title if people are from Newcastle or from Mayfield. But I actually lived in Cooks Hill when I wrote it.
Oh wow, yeah, totally different area, but I guess there's less like music opportunities in Cooks Hill. There's not as many like places to play. Whereas in Mayfield you've got like Stag and Hunter, and it's closer to the uni. Yeah.
Mayfield is such like such an interesting suburb. Like I think everyone in Newcastle knows that it's such like a mesh of cultures and just like on the edge of town and a real mesh of different sort of subpopulations and stuff coming together. So yeah, I mean, it was a good place to kick off the song, and then it's less about the literal sense of being in Mayfield and more about that sense of like where you're living and like what's home to you. It's really about like the connection that you have with the place or with the people, and I was in a time in my life when that was really important because I was about to move, so I was sort of questioning what makes me feel attached to Newcastle and attached to this community and the music community and all the friendships I had there and stuff. So yeah, it's sort of more about like, you know, it's the people that make the place, that type of idea.
Yeah, you take your home with you kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think I realised that until I finished actually writing it. I usually write songs to like work out what I'm trying to say. And then at the end you're like, that's what I was trying to say.
I get it now.
Like solve your own problems. But yeah, it was really about what makes somewhere feel like home.
Yeah.
And that's rather than the place, it's the people and the community and the connection. Yeah,
we have such a raw, authentic, like Australian sound because you're so honest about everything, but you also have that like Courtney Barnett, Missy Higgins style sound that I think it's amazing.
Oh, cool. Yeah, they're pretty big influences of mine. Like I grew up on Missy Higgins and like the Waves and Paul Kelly, like really Australian sounding natural people. And like I'm from a country town, so like naturally I'm going to have quite an Aussie voice.
Have that bit of a twang.
a little bit.
A little bit.
But when I was singing, like I would do a lot of cover gigs and you can sort of adjust your voice to suit a song. And then I realised all the originals that I was writing were just using my voice, and at first I didn't really like it. I was like, oh, it sounds so like Bogan,
yeah.
But yeah, then I just realised that's my voice, and I embraced it.
Yeah, well there's a lot more mainstream sounds like that happening now. We're sort of embracing it more instead of trying to cover it with an accent, so that would have been really encouraging.
Yeah, that's true. And like a lot of my favourite bands at the moment, and like sort of younger Australian like indie rock bands and punk bands and that sort of thing, definitely embrace that Australian voice. So there's no point sounding like something that you're not. So
when you were in Newcastle, you played at the Civic Theatre, I believe, at one point. What was it like playing in the same venue at a very similar age to when Missy Higgins was? Like, because she played on the stage when she was 21, and I think you were...
I was 23 last year.
23? Yeah. What did that feel like?
That's a pretty cool comparison. I actually played as part of a showcase there called Sounds in the Spotlight, which is run by a couple of girls from Newcastle Uni actually. It was a really cool project, and they brought together about 4 local artists, sort of up and coming Newcastle artists, and just really wanted to showcase like the music community. It was awesome actually. It was in the Playhouse, so I'm sure Missy maybe would have played.
She was on the main stage, but same building. She walked around the same floors, it counts.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we played in the Playhouse, which was actually really intimate because the seats are tiered up and you're on the stage at the bottom in the Playhouse, so you're literally like facing people in front of you and they're only a couple of meters away. That was one of my favourite gigs I've ever played actually. So it was quite a small crowd. I just had some really special like family and friends there, and family and friends of the other bands, and I really embraced trying to talk to the crowd and explain each song and make it relatable for every person that was there. So yeah, that's one of our favourite ones. I think last year was good.
Yeah, the Playhouse is a cool venue. It's intimidating because you can actually see people's faces.
Yeah.
Opposed to like at a pub when you've got the blaring lights on, or a massive venue where you just can't see a single person. Yeah, so that would have been a wild experience for you.
Yeah, you can definitely get a bit more nervous when you can see who you're playing to. I actually just get really distracted sometimes especially if it's like my friends like if I'm playing the Ori and they're like a meter away from me because it's so small there, and they're just like smiling and like dancing and like, you know, really paying attention. If I can't look at them for too long because I'll get really distracted and stuff up what I'm doing. So
And why is it that Lost in Mayfield it's one of your favourite songs to play live, isn't it?
Yeah, I did say that. I think especially last year, because we were playing a lot of Newcastle shows, like we had a few months there, like October to December, where like every second weekend we had a band gig or I had a solo original gig, and I was including it in all the sets. I think because people really responded to it, like afterwards would say like, I love that Mayfield one, and it's, you know, easy to remember. And also because it is a bit rockier, playing it with the band live. Like I know Jake, who played bass for me, and Matt, who played drums, both said it was like their favourite song that I'd written. It was just really fun to play. I don't know, and it had that like emotional, like raw energy behind it, because I was feeling all of those emotions at that time in my life, like just before I moved. So probably every time I sang it, maybe that transferred across to the audience, that it was really real and I really like was in the moment of it. Yeah.
So how do you think that will compare to when you can go out and play live again?
Oh, I don't know, who knows when that will be. Like I mean, I'm hoping to maybe do some shows towards the end of this year if things can calm down a bit, and I'm lucky that as I can do like solo really chill stuff where I could do seated venues. Maybe I'm thinking about doing that. Like I did that for the 20-something single launch at the Ori. It was like when pubs had just opened, so everyone had to be seated, but it was really nice and just low key. So yeah, maybe we can do that towards the end of the year, but the whole like people up on their feet dancing and sort of rocking out a bit, yeah, who knows, maybe next
totally
year.
Different vibe as well.
It's a different vibe, yeah.
Yeah, they're not really songs that you can sit down and listen to, you know, you have to dance in your seat sort of thing. You said that there was like a series of songs that you were writing toward like in October last year, so we've got 20-something Lost in Mayfield. Have we got more that I should be keeping an eye out for?
Definitely this month. So I'm releasing Lost in Mayfield Friday 21st, and then a week later, Friday the 28th, I'm going to release another one from that batch of songs called Caffeine Fix. So that's another single, and yeah, you can tell I have a bit, like most of my songs talk about coffee. A bit of an addiction, but
don't we all though?
Yeah, I think so. But that song's actually about sort of mental health and looking after your friends and your family, talking openly about mental health, and that's probably my favourite one. I have like all these different favourites, but that's probably my favourite one that we recorded in that session. It's rockier again than Lost in Mayfield. It has some lead guitar on it as well from a musician called Emily Smith, who actually lives in Mayfield. And yeah, it's a lot rockier and a bit heavier, so that'll come out a week after Lost in Mayfield. So 2 this month. I just thought I'll get like 2 more out at once almost, for people to be able to listen to. And then later in the year, maybe in a couple months, maybe looking at another single.
Wow, that's so cool.
Getting them out and about, so.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they go just as well as 20-something did, because I know that got a lot of traction for you. And I understand why. So it's really fun to see them getting rockier and rockier. So far, I'm loving the progression.
Yeah, cool. I'm glad you enjoyed Lost in Mayfield, and yeah, hopefully other people like it and can relate to that and the Caffeine Fix after that as well.
Yeah, I definitely think the uni students, or at least our Yak followers, will absolutely vibe with both of those.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, you've definitely got the sort of population, I mean, who are really similar to me. Like I was a uni student, like in my young 20s when I was writing all these songs, so hopefully that'll transfer across to your audience.
Yeah, I think so.
In very similar life situations and relationships and all that type of thing.
Absolutely. So where will you be releasing Lost in Mayfield?
So on all the streaming services, like Spotify is obviously the big one, Apple Music. People use that. I'll probably pop it up on my Bandcamp, Triple J Unearthed as well. But yeah, everywhere, anywhere that people get their streaming music, it'll be there.
Awesome. Well, we will link it for everyone in both the article and on our video.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for joining me for a cuppa.
Thank you. I felt like I was just chatting. I didn't even drink my coffee.
No, I had to like put it. I've still got a full cup